The Pathscribe features in Astute Graphics Vector Scribe give you a whole new level of control over the editing of Bezier paths in Illustrator. With Pathscribe, you can intuitively reshape paths and quickly convert between smooth points and corner points, and you can select and change path direction handles with extreme precision and ease. Even if you're a longtime Illustrator user, you may have never even imagined the kind of path control that you can get with Pathscribe. So let's try it out. I'll open the Pathscribe panel by going to the Window menu and choosing Vector Scribe, Pathscribe panel. And let's just start editing this simple rectangle. So I have the Pathscribe tool selected in my toolbar. And as I move my cursor over the anchor points in this rectangle, I can see that naturally they're corner points. And I don't need to select this path to start reshaping it. I can just click and drag on a segment. The path stays right under my cursor as I move it, which feels a lot more natural than dragging Bezier handles away from a path. And you can see that as I drag, those handles were automatically created, and the segment changed from straight to curved. And where I click and drag determines the direction of these handles. I'll undo, and if I click right around the middle of the segment and hold the Shift key and drag, I create symmetrical direction handles. And notice how they create a smooth transition from the curve to the adjacent segments. And in fact, these direction handles will stay locked in their orientation no matter how I drag them. You can see the small C's that indicate this segment is connected to the adjacent ones. That's called the connector feature, and we'll look at it some more in just a minute. But for now, I'll undo again, and instead of dragging near the middle of the segment, I'll drag near one of the anchor points. And again, I'll hold Shift. And again, I get symmetrical direction handles, but notice I can move these ones in any direction that I want to. Now let's look at the connector feature. It's the first button in the top row of the panel, and you can click to disable or enable it. So I'll enable it. And the purpose of the connector is to help you create nice smooth transitions between curved and straight segments by snapping the direction handle of the curved segment into alignment with the straight segment. For example, with the connector enabled, I can drag this handle, and when it gets close to being in alignment with the straight segment, it snaps. And now the handle will stay locked in alignment. I'll do the same for the other handle. I'll drag down and see it snap. Note that if I switch to the direct selection tool, I can move one of these handles in any direction. The connector doesn't apply when you're using native Illustrator tools. I can also unlock a handle with the Pathscribe tool by simply turning the connector off and dragging. Another very useful feature for making precise changes to your paths is the slow drag feature. With it, you can drag points or handles 10 times slower than normal. You just click, hold down the Control key, and drag. And this is great for making precise, very small adjustments in a way that would be very hard to do at normal speed. If you really like slow drag, you can leave it turned on in the Pathscribe preferences. Just press Return or Enter with the tool to open the Preferences dialog box and select this choice here, Slow Drag is default. Next, I'll zoom in on my path with the spiral ends, and this has one straight segment and a whole bunch of curved ones. I'll click on the path with the Pathscribe tool, and if I move my cursor over any of the points, you can see that they're all smooth points. So if I click on one and grab a handle and drag, I change both adjacent segments. I'll undo that. And let's say that I wanted to be able to control any segment without affecting any of the others. Well, for that, I'd need to convert these smooth points to corner points, and Pathscribe lets me do that very easily. First, I can select all the points on the path by clicking this button here, and now I can click this button in the center top row, Convert to Corner Point. The appearance of the path doesn't change at all, but now I can click on a point and drag any direction handle independently. Or I can select them all and convert them all to smooth points. Again, I'll undo. And with all the points selected, I can click on Split Path to break it into its individual segments. I'll undo to put it back together. And with the last button in the top row, I can use the Smart Remove feature to remove a point that I don't want on a path without totally distorting the adjacent segments. For example, take this point here. If I select this with the Direct Selection tool and then take the pen tool and click to remove it, there's a big change in the appearance of the path because the two handles that now define this segment weren't changed. But if I undo and take the Pathscribe tool, select that point, and click on Smart Remove Point, the handles are extended to compensate for the removal of the point, and the shape of the path is preserved. In some cases, Pathscribe can't completely preserve the shape of a path, but it usually comes very close. I'll undo again to put that point back, and I can also use the panel to retract handles, either by selecting points or selecting segments, like so. I can even select all the points and retract all the handles at once to really change the appearance of the path. Again, I'll undo and put it back the way it was. Next, I'll go to the panel menu and choose Expand Panel to reveal the rest of the Pathscribe controls. I can reveal all the handles on a path, and I can select all those handles at once, so I can move them in unison. Or I can use the panel controls to make precise adjustments in ways that just aren't possible with Illustrator alone. I just need to set a value in one of these fields and then click an adjacent button. So for example, I can increase the length of the direction handles by 5 pixels and click the button. Or I can use negative values and decrease the length of the handles. I can scale them by percentages, make them 200%, and I can rotate them. I can also make absolute adjustments down here, setting precise length and angle for any direction handle. I can also copy handles and paste them onto other points. So for example, look at this path down here. It has 4 curves, and they're all a little bit different because when I drew them, I wasn't careful to make the handles all the same. But Pathscribe makes it easy for me to make them all the same. I just choose one of the points whose handles I want to apply to the others. So I'll select this point here, go to the Pathscribe panel menu, and choose Copy Handles. I'll select these 3 other points and choose Paste Handles. And now all the curves match. When I have a single point selected, the panel gives me detailed information about the point's location and its in and out handles, including their position, length, and angle. So for example, I could select the out handle, I could change its length to 30 pixels, and make its angle 90 degrees, and reshape this segment like so. And one other important benefit of Pathscribe is that all these controls remain available when you're working with the Direct Selection tool or when you're drawing a new path with the Pen tool. In this movie, we saw some of the many Pathscribe features within Astute Graphics Vectorscribe. You can use this powerful tool to manipulate Bezier paths and points with much more precision and convenience than Illustrator alone. You can intuitively reshape path segments and create smooth transitions between them. You can remove points without distorting a path. You can manipulate corner and smooth points and precisely control any attribute of direction handles.